Jessica says that she has PTSD. She has a lot of trouble sleeping, and she also has severe night terrors. And she said this is the first product that she has ever taken that has completely stopped her night terrors. And she actually slept through the entire night on it. And even if she did wake up, she was able to go right back to sleep.
Yeah.
15 years of therapy and hundreds of, combinations, meds tried, and nothing worked as well as our sleep time.
Welcome to the Holistic Truth Podcast. I'm Jamie Dorley, CEO of Nutritional Frontiers.
And I'm Christine Genovese, creator of the Soul Intelligence Method. We're here to help you break through chronic disease and dysfunction physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically.
With real proven strategies, protocols, and tools you can use in your practice today. Truth, we are live today. And I just want to thank everybody for all the tremendous support recently at our professional training event. I'm your host today, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host, the one and only Christine Genovese. How are we doing, Christine?
Fantastic. We're coming off like an incredible weekend, and I am so excited to be here and back at it in the studio.
Me too. I've never been in a better mood. I'm so grateful for all the incredible people that came to our event. It was sold out. One of the probably the best compliment I can receive is you guys outdid yourselves again. You know, we upped the game with the audio visual. We had a whole team in there doing that. We had a sold out event. We had the best presentations ever on time. It was a fun event. The location was better. So overall, incredible feedback and, so many compliments. How about yourself?
Oh my gosh, the compliments keep coming in. You know, it's really hard. You think about how do we make this event even better every single time? And to hear that people felt that way, I think that's probably the biggest compliment and takeaway. Right?
Yeah.
The surprise and delight, I think, gets a little bit harder. And it's really cool to know that everybody loves being a part of the NF community and that we're always looking for more people to come in the room and join us. And our next big professional training event is in April 10th to the 12th in Clearwater, Florida. So if you miss this one, you're not going to want to miss our party at the beach.
Yeah, and a lot of people said we're right on point with the topic for Q4. And part of the Q4 topic, of course, is stress, mood, and sleep. And people say that, the events really help them with their mood. They may not sleep a lot, but it's a very deep, sound sleep. And it's a stress relief to be able to reinvest in yourself. Because if you look back over the last 5 years, since COVID, people have really been conditioned to, not really do well managing their sleep. They've been conditioned to stay home, to spend more time on computers and phones. A lot of the private, independent, healthier restaurant options were shut down. Fast foods were booming. And it really created a more stressful environment for people, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, across the board. And we want to help people have a strategy of what they can do each and every day. And then what are some of the midterm and then long-term strategies? Because they're saying about half of Americans really say that stress has negatively impacted their health. I would say it's probably even higher.
Oh, definitely.
About 1/4 of all Americans say that they've experienced a mental health condition in the past year or so. And I know your son works in mental health and emotional health, and it's really impacted our families, our friends, our businesses, our country. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. What do you think?
Absolutely not. I mean, I know, Jamie, when we talk about the underlying root causes, right, of what's going wrong in the body, whether it's dis-ease or dysfunction or the dissonance in the body, stress is probably the number one thing that causes people's immune system to lower and for them to, be more susceptible to dis-ease within the body. When we talk about the autonomic nervous system and how we have to be in a receptive, calm state in order to receive and to hear and to function. And most of us are in constant fight or flight, and we're bombarded with messages, right? And different outlets. And so when we talk about stress, we really need to find time to reconnect with ourselves, to get out into nature even, to just ground, right? And enjoy the sun on our face. And I know, a lot of people, when they're stressed, they also don't sleep well. And I know you have actually struggled with sleep issues for a number of years. You had insomnia for quite some time, right?
Yeah, when you start a business and, you are all in, you have a family to support and you have business partners and startups and new regulations in the nutraceutical field, it can be very stressful. And when cortisol is really high, it's really difficult to sleep. And that throws off blood sugar, that throws off all your hormones, and it becomes more like a snowball effect, right? Where it just kind of snowballs out of control. And in fact, one of our incredible speakers, brand ambassador and keynote speaker, Dr. Bob Rakowski, says there's 5 underlying causes of any health challenge: nutritional deficiencies, toxicity. You look at lack of movement, genetics, and the 5th one is stress. He, in fact, has gotten to a point where he has a stress reset, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, because if you don't address the stress, he says people are too hot. You can't even get down to deep inside to get them improving. So he looks at the stress reset from anywhere from 48 hours up to 10 days, sometimes up to 3 weeks, as being really imperative to someone's ability to heal naturally.
Yeah. And I would say, when you talk about the different levels of stress, soul intelligence is one of the ways I can help people shift out of stress, right? Because the whole method is based on shifting someone into a higher vibrational state, right? So when you're in a theta state, that's more of a meditative, relaxed state. And typically we're stuck in kind of alpha or beta states, which are lower force energy states where we're in fear and stress and strife and, anxiety. All of that stuff is at the bottom of the scale when you talk about the scale of consciousness, or you talk about how you measure emotions. And so the more we can kind of get ourselves into more of a high alpha or low theta state, the more we're able to regulate our autonomic nervous system and give our body time to heal and recover.
Yeah, almost 15% of people in the US are on some kind of antidepressant or mood stabilizing medications, right? And when you look at these medications, they can have tremendous impact on someone in a negative fashion. Usually these people are presented with some kind of chemical imbalance, which is the neurotransmitters in the brain, such as dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, epinephrine. And when these are out of balance, you need to look at why. Stress depletes all the B vitamins, and those are building blocks for the neurotransmitters. You mentioned soul intelligence. I start every day on my knees and pray, and then I go to a whole meditation platform. I read my 2 books I read every morning. Then I do journaling. I do soul intelligence. And I listen to vibrational music. This is before I even leave my house. And then I'm going to do some type of physical activity, water, supplements, test my blood sugar. So I have a whole routine every morning that really gets my mind ready to go, because we're really in this very noisy world. So what are some of the things you do daily?
Well, one of the things I do, I love starting my day off with meditation and journaling, going within, doing a little daily reading, looking at nature if I don't get out into nature. Although I'm thinking about incorporating getting outside for just that first 15 minutes. One of the things I learned at the professional training event is to get out into the sun, in the morning sun in particular, to get that first 15 minutes of sun to help get your vitamin D levels up. So I think I may be incorporating that, but I've also started to incorporate gentle movement like yoga. And, Kara is our local, our own guru, yoga guru, that did a yoga session at the professional training event. And every time I do it, I realize how much I enjoy it and how much my body responds so much better. So I think I'm going to add that into my routine. How about you, James?
I love any type of movement, but like I was saying earlier, prayer, meditation, journaling, reading is a really good start to the day. And then, of course, I add in the soul intelligence every week. And I love some kind of physical movement. If that's walking the hills, could be like this morning, it was Pilates. I did yoga at the event, weight training. It could be anything, but I like to be outside, not only for physical movement, but also being in touch with nature. And it'd be hard to believe, but in October yesterday, all afternoon, I was out on a boat on the Three Rivers. It was just in the 80s, sunny and gorgeous out. And I was like, hey, if God's going to give us an extra few great days, and I'm going to take full advantage of it, because you don't realize the impact stress has not only on your body and your mood, but about 50 to 70 million Americans are suffering from inadequate sleep, not only falling asleep, but even more importantly, staying asleep. And it's according to the Cleveland Clinic. So this has become more of an issue for about 1/5 of our population. And I was told when we were younger that you would need less sleep when you get older, but I find that's not the case. I sleep, but also I like to take naps. And those can be 20, 30 minutes, sometimes longer, just depending on the day and my schedule.
Yeah, I rarely nap, but occasionally I can be talked into a nap. I'm a go, go, go. but I tend to get a good solid 7 to 8 hours every night, and I'm really grateful for that. And I have to do some things to make sure it's super quiet and dark and the conditions are right, but I'm very grateful that most of the time I'm a good sleeper.
Yeah, we talked earlier about, I mentioned chemical imbalances, right? So people go to their allopathic medical doctor. She says, "Oh, Christine, you have chemical imbalance. Let me put you on Cymbalta or Prozac or, all these different type effects or all these different types of antidepressants." But they never really address natural solutions to rebuilding the neurotransmitters. And what do people normally do for stress? Sugar, caffeine, nicotine,
Alcohol,
alcohol, right? Do they have any B vitamins in those?
not that I'm aware of.
No. So you're further depleting B vitamins, and B vitamins are water soluble. They need to be replenished at least daily, if not twice a day. So when you look at the initial solutions, the first thing I want to look at is Super B Complete. These are all the activated methylated B vitamins because it's the dosing of the vitamin, it's the form, and what else is in there. A lot of B vitamins are in tablets. What is ours in?
They're in veggie caps so that your body can absorb them better, more easily, and quickly.
So some companies even call their B vitamins stress Bs. Have you seen that before?
I have, and I was curious about that. Why is B vitamin so associated with stress?
Because B vitamins are the fuel for the neurotransmitters, and when your body is in stress, so even thinking, problem solving, taking a test, studying, reading, doing a budget, any of those things will deplete your B vitamins more and more. So they'll call them stress Bs because when you're stressed, you'll utilize more B vitamins. So a lot of companies are called stress B because they want you to realize it's the connection between stress and the replenishment of B vitamins. Ours is called Super B. In fact, we have all the B vitamins, including B15. Do you know what that one is?
Dude, that is DMG, darn mighty good, or dimethylglycine.
Yeah, that's the original B15. So we added in the Super B Complete. These will help a college student, a professional, a mom, a parent raising kids, problem solving at work. Sometimes people are forgetful, they lose their keys or their wallet and misplace things. That's usually a sign of low B vitamins. So when you take the Super B, you can handle stress better and you'll have better mood, better focus, better attention, better problem solving, figuring things out. So Super B Complete is really a foundation for anybody that's in this noisy world, which is most people. We do have B vitamins in our multivitamins. However, we like to add them in as a individual formula.
I
And
was
we have
going to ask, Jane, because I take Women's Complete, and I don't know if adding Super B Complete would be helpful, or when do you kind of because I know our multis, we have testimonials on our multis. Who has testimonials on how good their multis are? But we do have B vitamins in the multi, and I take the Women's Complete, and I was curious, when would you what would give you pause to maybe say maybe I need a little extra?
Well, the foundation is always your multivitamins, minerals. So that'd be Women's Complete or Men's Complete and Omega 3D to fish oil. That's a foundation bundle for everybody. If if you are facing higher levels of stress, if that you need help with some of the things I talked about, right? Problem solving, forgetfulness, memory, focus, or you're not handling stress well. Maybe you're more agitated, or you more. I talked to someone this morning that business guy, and the son-in-law was really depressed, anxious, any of those type of things. Add the Super B on top. Now, if you're having a anxious day, you can use things like Calm Day. If you're depressed, you can use Mood Lift, now called Mood Boost. If you need an overall sense of relaxation, you're nervous and forgetful and your muscles ache and a tender, use Mag Complete. And then, of course, sleep time about 1 hour before bed will solve all your issues you're dealing with insomnia. So let's break these down a little more individually, starting with Calm Day. I know you call this the natural Xanax. Why is that?
Yeah, it's like mother's little helper. I always carry Calm Day in my briefcase, and gives your body a calm, right? It doesn't mess with your brain, but it's always a nice one to have around to just kind of get you to kind of chill out just a little bit. And I remember I was, running to catch a plane in Atlanta. And if you've ever been in Atlanta, going from the train, their inner tram all the way up, I ran all those stairs. And then I ran all the way to get to the gate. And I was so out of breath. I finally got to my seat. I needed to calm down. And I started to pop a couple Calm Day. And the gentleman next to me said, "What are you taking?" And I said, "Oh, this is our Calm Day." He goes, "Can I try it?" I said, "Sure." the flight attendant came, "Hey, what's that? Can I have some?" She took it and she thought it was amazing. So it really does help, to kind of just calm your system down a little bit. And I think a lot of that is, yes, it has vitamin B6 in it, right? And it also has the GABA in it, which I also think helps, as well as the L-theanine and the taurine.
Yeah, well, B5 and B6 in here, you have the P5P and the pantothenic acid, that's B5. So B5 and B6 are great B vitamins for the adrenal. Of course, the Super B would give you all of them, but those two in particular. And then you look at things like GABA, which gives the body an overall sense of relaxation. And I learned over the weekend from Dr. Bob that's a precursor to serotonin in the body. So the feel good hormone, right? So
Mm.
you have things like glycine and taurine really help with mood stabilization. L-theanine is a great amino acid that will really help give the body a sense of calm without making you tired or fatigued. And we actually use the sun-theanine. So this to
Mm.
stimulate activity in the brain, known as, like you talked about earlier, these alpha waves that are associated with a more relaxed but alert mental state. So talk about the importance of the alpha state.
Yeah. So alpha is when, where you're kind of you're aware, you're awake, and then you're kind of approaching like what I would call the flow state, right? Where everything just seems to flow, where time kind of moves away. You're so into what you're doing, you just lose yourself in the moment. So the more we can be in that kind of a calm, but awake and aware state, the more we are able to function better, whether that's, managing something at work or managing something at home, but you're alert, you're awake, but you're calm. And so again, we need to get our nervous system to calm down in any way possible.
Yeah, we have thousands of testimonials. I take this one from our friend Mia. She's a business owner, female entrepreneur for over 25 years, and she's got a very stressful business. And she says, no one believes me when I tell them how well Calm Day works. There are no words to describe how much better I feel after I take them. I've been using this formulation for years and cannot be more thankful enough for the good days that I've been having during stressful times in my life. Because of it, Calm Day may be truly a lifesaver for me. So we have over 1,000 of these different testimonials. That's a nice one because there's a woman that's been really hustling out there with a business for 25 years and has been through everything from the internet to brick and mortar clothing shops shutting down to now where during COVID, people not shopping as much. Calm Day is great. You can use it acutely or for chronic. So if you have a situation, you got to do a presentation. We actually had a client in Florida we were working with, me and Harriet, and she tried it and she said, normally I don't do well on flights. I'm very anxious. She took
Mhm.
one before a flight and she says, I've never been more calm on a flight than at that time. So it's great when we hear that type of feedback from our clients.
I know. Maybe we ought to approach like some of the common airlines we fly on, since I've also had good interaction with flight attendants for Calm Day.
Oh, I want to shift gears in the mood boost. So this is going to be, yeah. So Calm Day is great if you're wired, if you're stressed and wired, you're anxious. Mood boost is going to be for the opposite. Maybe you're stressed and depressed. You're feeling down. I'm not talking about once in a while. I'm talking about the point where it's, you're not motivated to get up in the morning. Everything becomes a chore. You're very lethargic. You don't really want to do anything. The interesting thing with Mood Boost is that it's a unique formulation. You see it on the top. You say, okay, it's got B3 and B6, magnesium, ginkgo, and HTP. Well, the main ingredient here is the 5-hydroxytryptophan. Again, B vitamins to help with adrenals and stress, magnesium to calm the body. But when you start looking at things like 5-HTP, that's a precursor, right, to tryptophan, which is a very calming effect for people.
Isn't that in
However,
turkey?
yes, it is. That's why if you eat too much Thanksgiving meal, sometimes that can make you a little sleepy. I think it's
Uh-huh.
more from the volume of food that people eat too.
Big belly, lots of turkey.
So the HCP will actually increase the feel-good hormone or neurotransmitter called serotonin. Low serotonin levels will lead to problems such as aggression, anxiety, and depression. So when you take HCP, it will raise serotonin levels. What is the problem? Serotonin breaks down very quickly in the body. So you get a little good feel and then you feel bad again. However, we found the research, which was fascinating, that when you add ginkgo biloba to a formula with HCP, it actually has a benefit in that not only for circulation and mood, but extends the action of serotonin and prevents the breakdown of the serotonin. So you get a much longer effect. That's why you can take mood boost twice a day, where sometimes HCP may need to take 3, 4, or 5 times a day.
Jamie, one of the things I thought I heard this weekend was how much serotonin is produced in the stomach, in our GI tract. Like that's where the happy hormone's supposed to be produced. And when we think about how many people have GI issues, right? And I think the statistic was something like there's only like 5% of us that have a normal like microbiome or GI a system functioning, like that we all have gut health issues. I'm sure that, this is a much like greater, issue than we're even aware of in terms of people having lower serotonin levels.
Yeah, well, the gut's the second brain. You store at least 50% of the serotonin in the gut, and they're saying upwards of 90 to 95% of the dopamine.
Mm.
So when people have neurological issues, depression, anxiety, or any of those symptoms we talked about, pretty good probability that they have some GI issues also. So
Mm.
the gut is the second brain. In fact, Dr. Len did presentation last year where it showed one of the earliest things to develop is that gut brain connection, the vagus nerves. Great connection between those two, mood boost, and you may need a GI protocol. We talked about Super B. This has activated B vitamins. What does that mean, Christine, activated?
It sounds like that means they're already ready to go. They're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, no conversion necessary. Absolutely. These are ready to go, right? Your body looks at them, it identifies them as an amino acid, as a protein, and absorbs them just like you would a food. So we have all the B vitamins in the right form, plus we add in the DMG, which is B15. So a nice formulation, plus it's in the veggie cap. And when you look at the dosing, right? Sometimes I've looked at other B vitamins and it'll say B vitamin 50 and they have 50 milligrams of all the B vitamins. But that's not how your food comes in nature. So what we did is we actually use the exact ratios that you'll find in nature so that your body absorbs this and these B vitamins don't compete for absorbability. If you're buying a B vitamin that has B vitamin 50 milligrams or 100 of everything, they took the easy way out. They didn't do the research, and those B vitamins will compete for absorption. You need it in a certain ratio together. Now your body will absorb it as a complete B rather than fighting for bioavailability.
Oh, that's cool.
So nice thing with the B vitamin, you can take 2 a day. Some people during really stressful times will go up to 4 a day, but 2 capsules is really nice dosage. Maybe you want to share with the group some of the incredible testimonials from Super B Complete. What do you think?
For sure. I mean, we heard from Carrie, and she said this was totally a game changer for her energy and mood, right? She's tried many B complex supplements over the years, but Super B Complete in Nutritional Frontiers, she says, is in a league of its own. I was so excited. She says, within the first week, I noticed a clear shift in my energy levels, no jitters, just a steady, natural lift that helped her focus and stay productive throughout the day. And she even recognized the bioavailability of the formula, that her body absorbed it without any stomach discomfort, and that it includes the active methylated forms of B12 and folate, which she needs because she has MTHFR genetics. And she also noticed that her brain fog lessened and she had a more stable mood, especially when she was really during like having a high or stressful day. And it's become a core part of her wellness routine and she won't go without it. And she highly recommends it to anybody who's looking to support their nervous system, energy production, and mental clarity. She's like, this one actually works.
Yeah.
That's a pretty large endorsement.
Absolutely. MTHFR, as we call it, the mother effer of all genetic predispositions. These are called SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. It basically means that your body does not process folic acid properly and does not complete methylation. That's why you need a methylated B vitamin. When you have those type, and there's so many different SNPs out there, Tracy did a whole seminar for a complete day on this, that when you have these, you're more susceptible to depression, more susceptible to things like anxiety and being anxious. So it's a really important thing to have methylated B vitamins. In fact, Christy Berry simply said, I rated 5 out of 5. So we'll take 5 out of 5, right?
Absolutely. This one is my favorite, James.
Let's hear it.
Mag Complete. Maybe this is why I sleep so well at night. I usually take 4 Mag Completes every night to help me sleep, right? It gets my body to relax. And I know it's the number one depleted element in our bodies, right? Magnesium is the number one thing I think that we all are deficient in. And since I'm a pretty active person and an athlete and tennis player, I think the magnesium also helps my muscles settle in and calm down. And so I love this one.
Yeah, magnesium has over 300 biochemical processes in the body. We think of it mostly from mood and muscles and heart. So things like hypertension, right? Spasmodic muscles, AFib, people dealing with polymyalgia or fibromyalgia, or maybe just muscle spasms, right? Those can be really painful, muscle cramping, PMS, mood. There's so many different benefits of magnesium. And you're right, Christine. Number one mineral deficiency in the world is magnesium, right? Number one vitamin is vitamin D. And
Mhm.
number three would be the essential fatty acids, the omega 3.
Well, I think what makes this special too, right, is the type of magnesium. Don't we have several different types in this? I think like 3 chelated forms
Yeah,
of
this is a
magnesium.
triple-headed monster. We have the, malate, taurate, and then also the bisglycinate. And it's the form, the magnesium malate, magnesium bisglycinate. These are all double covalent bonded Trax minerals. These are the most bioavailable minerals in the world, and we use them not only in our Mag Complete, but our multivitamins, our Mag Glycinate, our Ultimate Shake. And the dosage is really important on this because it's not only how much you take, but also the form of it. So 4 capsules will give you that 300 milligrams. Some of our clients take 6 capsules a day, and with incredible results, not only for sleep, but mental alertness, focus, attention, cramping, so many different benefits. It's got to be near the top of your list on all the supplements people take. So we talked about how to improve your B vitamins overall for neurotransmitters. Then we looked at Calm Day to give you a more sense of calmness during the day. And then we looked at Mood Boost and Mag Complete. So let's bring it home with Sleep Time. You had mentioned at the top of the show that I did suffer from insomnia for 10 years. That's why I created Sleep Time. And it had immediate impact on me. So when you're suffering from insomnia, you may need adrenal support, but you definitely need Sleep Time. What's your experience with this?
Occasionally I'll use a sleep time. What I want to do is typically I will use magnesium most of the time. Occasionally I'll actually use, a sleep time if I need to really get some sleep or if I wake up, right? Sometimes I'm really affected by the moon phases. So believe it or not, the moon for me, sometimes I think you hear like hospital workers always say, oh gosh, I hope I'm not working the Friday night on a full moon, right? Because the crazies come out at night, the lunatics. So sometimes when the moon changes phases, it's full or new, I might have trouble sleeping and I will take 1 sleep time or 2 at the most. And I always not only go to sleep, but I stay asleep. So how does our formula manage to keep people asleep?
Well, this has the same ingredients as the Calm Day, interesting enough. However, we did add 2 other things to it, right? This one actually will incorporate the 5-HTP and melatonin. So it's a little stronger than the Calm Day. When you look at the formulation overall, some of these nutrients will help you fall asleep, right? The L-theanine will give you a sense of calmness. 5-HTP will help you fall asleep. But the glycine in here will actually help with quality of sleep. My friend of mine's company did research, and they found when you get to about 2 grams, which would be 4 capsules of the glycine alone, that helps with quality of sleep. So this is one of the few things that will actually help you fall asleep and actually maintain a deep, good quality of sleep. 2 things you always want to look for: drooling and dreaming will let you know if you're sleeping a deeper rate.
That's awesome. I never heard that before. So drooling is actually a good thing.
Yeah, you take one of those power naps, so you wake up and you're in a deep sleep and you'll drool and then you'll dream, because the dream is like after the 4 phases of sleep, you get into that REM stage. And that's really the part where you're dreaming. And that's when you know you're in a deep sleep.
Awesome.
So, what are some people saying about this one?
Well, I know Donna has shared with us that, she started this product and she can already tell a difference in her sleep patterns. She loves that if she does wake up during the night, she's quickly able to go right back to sleep. She rated it a 5 out of 5. Jessica, who, says that she has PTSD, she has a lot of trouble sleeping and she also has severe night terrors. And she said this is the first product that she has ever taken that has completely stopped her night terrors. And she actually slept through the entire night on it. And even if she did wake up, she was able to go right back to sleep. She said
Oh, that's great to hear.
yeah, like
Yeah.
15 years of therapy and hundreds of, combinations, medical, meds tried, and nothing worked as well as our sleep time. She said, thank you. She's also recommended it to numerous patients in her office, and she's also gotten them onto it as well.
Yeah, one more way I've used it recently with the change in my schedule and inconsistent sleep patterns. If you find like you're really tired at 8, 9 o'clock and you're kind of dozing off, don't take the sleep time yet. So if I'm doing like I did last night, I fell asleep. And then actually I took the sleep time when I woke up to use the restroom, like 11 or something. So if you're falling asleep a little bit earlier or dozing off, just doze off. And if you wake up, you can take it then, and you'll get that extra 4, 5, 6 hours that you're really looking for. Well, this was great. Thanks, Christine, so much. It was an incredible professional training event. I'm really excited about this stress, mood, and sleep program because so many people are suffering right now. And if you have any questions, you can let our team know, and we can help customize the program for you. So thanks so much, everyone. Let's have a great Q4 this year. Appreciate all the support, and God bless.
Thanks for tuning in to the Holistic Truth Podcast.
If this episode spoke to you, please follow the show and share it with someone ready to take charge of their well-being. And if you can, leave us a review. It helps others find our podcast.
For more tools and practitioner support, visit nutritionalfrontiers.com.